Virginia Governor Ralph Northam is rejecting growing calls to resign over a racist yearbook photo from 1984. This picture surfaced showing a man dressed in blackface and another in a KKK hood and robe.
So Northam originally apologized for being in the photo, but then over the weekend he flipped, denying that that was actually him in the picture. However, the Democrat then did admit to making a similar mistake in his past.
I did participate in a dance contest in San Antonio, in which I darkened my face as part of a Michael Jackson costume. I look back now and regret that I did not understand the harmful legacy of an action like that.
CBS News political correspondent Ed O'Keefe is following the latest in Richmond, Virginia. Ed, what's been the reaction from both Democrats and Republicans to this? Essentially, Northam saying, I wore blackface, just not on that day.
Yeah. Well, they'd like him to go, and they wanted him gone essentially starting Friday night, and he hasn't left. We just came out of a news conference here in the Capitol behind us with the House Speaker, and he called on the governor as well to go, saying that on behalf of fellow Democrats and other Republicans in the state legislature, they no longer have confidence in him and that he should step down. But we asked him, what could you do potentially to get the governor out of office if he refuses to go? And he conceded that if you read the state constitution, there's nothing there really for this. The governor would have to be essentially mentally or physically incapacitated, and that's not this situation. This is just a governor admitting to something that obviously is pretty serious and comes at a sensitive time in a state that has struggled throughout its history with racial issues and civil rights for sure. This is the 400th year of slaves arriving in Jamestown, and you bring that up with some of these lawmakers and they shudder to think that Northam might still be governor when that anniversary happens later this year, because the state has been trying to prepare for that and coming up with proper ways to commemorate it, and they clearly don't want him around. But the governor apologized Friday night in a video statement. By Saturday, he was making calls to colleagues saying, actually, I don't think it's me. And it came about because he talked to former classmates, his family, and his pastor, and they agreed that he should try to keep fighting and try to get back the forgiveness of his colleagues and state residents. But folks we've talked to here in Richmond over the weekend are just befuddled by the whole situation and think it would be best for him to go.
I think befuddled is probably like the best word to use here, as we've been watching this and the explanations going back and forth. And you know, this story, it was a website that broke this story, and the website's kind of a right-leaning website. Is this politically motivated?
Well, Anne-Marie, that's a good question, and it's one we asked the governor and we've asked everybody else. The site is called bigleaguepolitics.com. It's an offshoot of Breitbart, which, of course, is less popular now than it once was, but a leading conservative news website. And the photo surfaced Friday at the end of an already tricky week for the governor. He had gotten caught up in a debate here in the state legislature about a late-term abortion bill that essentially would have allowed a woman to have an abortion up until the moment of birth. And in a radio interview last week with a Washington, D.C. radio station, he was asked, as a pediatrician, to sort of explain how that would work in the late terms, especially if, for example, the abortion occurred essentially during a birth. And he gave a pretty clinical answer that was caught on video because the radio station webcasts the interview. Republicans seized on it. The president brought it up, even in that interview with Margaret Brennan. Republicans trying to accuse the Democrats now are the party of late-term abortion and killing babies, their words. And he held a news conference last Thursday saying this was misconstrued by Republicans. All we're trying to do is extend full rights to women to make decisions with their doctors. Everyone here in Richmond thought it was over, but by Friday afternoon that photo surfaced, and we've seen what's played out ever since.
Indeed we have. Ed O'Keefe for us. Thank you, Ed.